Hey there, friends. Just gonna go through Facebook a little bit. It's often the case that Facebook figures in my screenshots. However, this time I'm just gonna look at Facebook directly. There's a couple things I don't want to let go by in connection with Portland being in the world headlines recently. In the last two or three of my videos, I've alluded to that, and maybe two or three ago, I got into the geography of where the protests were happening and this kind of thing. Now, here's from my friend Deb. If you remember Lattice Gallery, so October, December last year, 2019, a pop up gallery appears on Southwest Broadway. It's near the old Customs House building, near the old post office. Well, actually, the current headquarter post office. It's not far from Union Station, Lattice Gallery. And Deb comes and visits, and I give a tour and make slides, and that's one of my videos, including Deb. Now, she's an MD, right? So this is relaying her sense from the front lines on the COVID thing that the nurses are especially tired, and this is not, easy for anybody, so it's not fake or anything. People who say it's all acting, I don't know if they say that about COVID, but they were saying that about Portland. Some people were. That's kind of funny how that's always so easy to scare up all these actors. It's like, wow, Hollywood sure is more covert than we realized. Anyway, Ren and Stimpy is a demented cartoon that I have been watching the trailer for the upcoming documentary about its history as a cartoon and production. Something I do in Toontown here in Portland, is study my own heritage, which, yes, includes cartoons. Now, we decided as a thread that this is not really Bhutan, and actually this has been photoshopped probably, or in other words, distorted deliberately to make things steeper than they really were or are. However, in other words, the comments, I say the comments are where the details are on that. So, as usual, on the internet, you're always cross checking. Is this really authentic, right? And sometimes it's not, and this kind of stuff, right? So that goes on, right? So I wanted to stop on this one for a second. Now, this one's pretty good. These guys build a cool rhombic dodecahedron which has like IVM in a bottle, right? You can see there. I'm actually jumping to the YouTube, I gather, and clicking on that. And let's get my comment underneath, because in our School of Tomorrow, what we would hasten to add here, what we would not want to drop out, okay, take the long diagonal of any of these rhombuses, right? They're all the same rhombus, diamond, repeated 12 times. It's a dodecahedron, but not the platonic dodecahedron, right? This is a different dodecahedron. It's not one of the five platonics. And it's important in what we call, we being the Bucky Fuller versed, the concentric hierarchy, and has a volume 6 in that. And so here I'm talking about, take that long diagonal of that face and build a tetrahedron out of that and call that volume 1. Call the edge length a D, D for diameter. These are our CCP balls again for the IVM. I call this IVM in a bottle, and that makes sense if you are following the American Transcendentalist thread in literature, right? So start back there with Emerson, Thoreau, Margaret Fuller, go forward through Margaret Fuller's grandnephew, and voila, here we are, right? Octahedron Volume 4, edges D, and again, this is Volume 6. This is a fun play off Obey Giant. That was Andre the Giant, if you remember this. Kind of one of the first meme campaigns was called Obey and Obey Giant. I have a whole, there's a long history behind that. And this is just it has a lot to do with sort of memes and street art and gosh. Okay, the other thing I wanted to look at, and there's a lot of funny stuff, right? is this kind of a spoof video game here. Oh, by the way, Portland, couple things. Portland is there's a subculture or cult in Japan, you could say, that likes Portland a lot, and they promote it as this fictional place called, well, a renamed place called Odnarotup, which is spelling Potorando backwards, which is kind of the Japanese saying of Portland, right? Potorando. And Willamette Week got notice of this and went to check it out and all this kind of stuff, right? So there's a lot of affinity between Portland and Japan, and this video I recommend watching. It's just like a silly song with the lyrics are, well, I've got the lyrics in my Facebook, but you can find them here on YouTube. Okay, so that's going to take its sweet time to load. And let me show you the one other thing. One other thing that went by that's fun. This video game. I'm trying to get to that. There we go.
Adam Savage in the cave with a one-day build with a friend today. This is Matt.
So that gives you the flavor of that. Sorry about the choppiness, but this is just an old MacBook Pro I got for $400, and it's trying to run Camtasia screen record as I jump around. Anyway, this spelling of Portland is very cool. I wonder if I'll put this in the comments too. But this is a theme of my blog as well. Is this kind of faux Cyrillic? Obviously, this doesn't say Portland in Cyrillic, but it looks like Portland, right? It's got that look of Portland, right? If you're reading it as English letters, right? And this kind of pun, you could call it, goes a long way in my writing. The backwards R. It's a TV trope, the backwards R. And I've talked about that quite a bit. Anyway, this really is fun. It's a idea for a video game, right? Where everything's in the mirror, you could say. All right. That's what my Facebook's like these days. This one I'll end on is As the World Turns, right? Except literally with a special, camera and timing device, you can force the camera to be in inertial space and be as if the world was, right, not there really, but the world is kind of crashing in on the scene here as it rotates. In other words, by world, I mean, of course, the planet. In philosophy, oftentimes the word world is used for universe, right? There's kind of a parochialism there. It doesn't mean planet Earth. When they say world, they just mean all that is the case, like that. But that's kind of a specialized meaning of world. And here, when I say worlds, I mean planet Earth. Okay, good chatting with you. Talk to you again in the near future.